During the Bush administration, they authorized angel flights for fallen soldiers. All I ever wanted to do was fly, leave this world and live in the sky. I flew a C-130 out of Fort Worth town. The days I go up, I don't want to come down. I fly that plane called the Angel Flight. Come on, brother, you're with me tonight. Between heaven and earth, you're never alone. Come on, brother, I'm taking you home. Well, I love my family and I love this land, but tonight this flight's for another man. We do what we do 'cause we heard the call. Some gave a little, but he gave it all. I fly that plane called the Angel Flight. We got a hero riding with us tonight. Between heaven and earth, never alone. On the Angel Flight, come on, brother, I'm taking you home. I'm taking you home. Well, the cockpit's quiet and the stars are bright. It kind of feels like church in here tonight. It don't matter where we touch down. On the Angel Flight, it's sacred ground. I fly that plane called the Angel Flight. Well, come on, brother, you're with me tonight. Between heaven and earth, we're never alone. On the Angel Flight, come on, brother, I'm taking you home. I'm taking you home. Thanks. All right, the book of Ruth. We are going to spend a couple of weeks here, so we're changing gears. I cannot tell you how many times I have sat in my office with a single person, and they said if I could only find the right person, if I could just find Mr. or Mrs. Wright, my life would just be so great. You know, that's absolutely the backward way of looking at life. Because God isn't interested in us finding the right person. God is interested in us being the right person. If you be the right person, Mr. or Mrs. Wright will show up. It happened in Ruth's story. I love this old story from the Old Testament. I'm going to read you a little bit of it, chapter 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, so a man from Bethlehem of Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech. That's how you'll remember that name. And his wife's name was Naomi. And the name of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. I have no song for those 2. They were Ephraimites from Bethlehem in Judah. And they went to Moab and lived there. Now, Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died. She was left with her 2 sons. And they married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion died. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a family genetic problem or something. These men died, so, anyhow. She was left without her 2 sons and her husband. And when Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living, and she set out on the road that would lead them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness, as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." And then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me?" I'm skipping down to verse 14. And as they wept aloud, Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," Naomi said, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with them." But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you will go, I will go. Where you will stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." And Naomi realized she wouldn't leave. Incredible woman. Incredible, incredible woman. I love the book of Ruth for so many wonderful reasons. It's a beautiful love story. It's a wonderful thing that's going to be unfolding here as we go through the book over the next couple of weeks. But what I love so much about it is the setting. Because the setting is this: in the days when the judges ruled. If you will read the time of the judges, it was a mess in Israel. In fact, they end the book of Judges by saying this: "And everybody did just whatever the heck they wanted to." Kind of like living today, where there's some ugliness out there, right? It was a really, really difficult world for her to live in. And in the midst of it all, God writes this beautiful love story. You see, it doesn't matter what's happening in your culture. It doesn't matter what's happening in your world at the time. God has called you to write a beautiful story of your life, living for him in this world right now. And Ruth, she faced the worst tragedy anybody could imagine. She was faced with a terrible choice, terrible heartache, terrible loss, all of it. And she could go back to her pagan family and desperately try to find the right guy, or she could do the right thing. And she chose to take care of a widow woman who would have no one to take care of her, who wasn't able to take care of herself, and she was going back to nothing for sure. And Ruth knew she was her only chance to be taken care of. So she wouldn't go. She wouldn't do it. Her choice is so clear. She even says this: "Your God is going to be my God." She had learned of Yahweh, Jehovah, Yahweh. She had learned about the true God. And the gods that they worshipped in Moab required human sacrifice. It was just an awful, awful thing. She would not go back. And so Ruth chose to write a beautiful story with her life. I just finished a book, Theo of Golden. How many of you read that book now? How many of you here? A few of us. Great, great, great book. My friend Alan Levi, he wrote this book about an old man that goes back to a town in Georgia and finds portraits of locals hanging on the walls at a coffee shop, and nobody's buying them. So he buys them, and he finds these people and gifts them their own portrait and tells them what he sees in their life. And a lot of them thought their lives were awful, but Theo reminded him of the beauty that was there. In fact, when Alan wrote me about the book, he said, "Tom, I'm looking for the Theo in you. Write a beautiful story." It's great, by the way. If you haven't looked it up, look it up, buy it. You can thank me later. It's on Amazon. Theo of Golden. People choose to write their own stories. Well, my great-great-great-grandfather was a was a prisoner in Andersonville prison. And like I told you, Mr. Vliet died there, as did thousands, tens of thousands of Northern soldiers died in that terrible place. In fact, when the war was over, they didn't go hanging all the generals of the Confederacy, but they found that guy that ran that prison and hung him for what he did, the war crimes that he had. Well, my great-great-great-grandpa Hampton decided to not give up on his story, but write a story, and the old man got out of there somehow and escaped and got as far as the river where the bloodhounds couldn't chase him or track him anymore, and got downriver and went to Missouri, and here we are today. Or this, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He chose to write a different story, to not let the story end there. We're all writing this story. How did Ruth write her story? Just quickly, I'll just tell you a few. First of all, by devotion. She loved Naomi and would not leave her. She had no idea what she was going to go through. She had no idea how they were going to survive, but she knew her number one job was to stick with her loved one and never leave. Do you see that kind of faithfulness, that kind of beautiful devotion? She's amazing. She wasn't going back. She was wonderfully devoted. Second thing is this. She was humble. You're going to find in chapter 2, verse 2, something very interesting. They get back there. Of course, all the women are saying, oh, Naomi's back, and her name meant pleasant. And she said, no, call me something else. And she came up with a name that was bitter, Call me bitter, not pleasant. That's been a terrible life. And it was really tough on her coming back. So they get there, and Ruth, it says in verse 2, the Moabite, said to Naomi, let me go to the fields and pick the leftover grain behind anyone whose eyes I found favor. The welfare system was when they harvested, if they dropped anything, they had to leave it on the ground because that's for the poor. And the poor could come behind and glean. Remember the gleaning? They would glean what was left over. Well, she went to glean in the field. It was absolutely humiliating to do that because you were just a beggar showing up. But she was a woman of great humility, and she went there and she did it because that's what was available for her to do. Thirdly, she was diligent. She was there all the time. When this man shows up named Boaz, he asks who she is. And the overseer replied in verse 6 of chapter 2, she is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters. She came into the field and has remained here from morning until now, except for a short rest in the shelter. She went after it. She worked hard. So she was diligent, she was humble, and she was devoted. That's how we're to live our lives. That's what the Lord is calling us to do. That's how you write beautiful stories. Because you see, Ruth was writing a story, but second of all, I want to tell you this, God was writing a story too. You write your story, but you trust God as the co-author of your life. He writes the story too. Because in chapter 2, there is this man named Boaz. He's a rich dude. Owns a bunch of property. Very looked up to in the community. Good man. Single. You girls crack me up. You have a girlfriend that's single, and any guy you meet, are you single? Because the wheels are always turning in your head to try to be a matchmaker. I guess that's a good thing. Anyhow, so God was writing a story too. Boaz comes into the field. This is what he says. Verse 4, just then Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted his harvesters. The Lord be with you. The Lord bless you, they answered. What a great work environment. Anyhow, Boaz asked the overseer of his harvesters. You can tell his eyeballs worked, okay? Because he said, who does that young woman belong to? Okay? That's in the Hebrew, it's hubba hubba. I love that. He saw her and he noticed her. I love that. Who had prepared this? God had prepared this whole thing. Listen, you don't have to make it all happen on your own. You don't have to do that. Our jobs are to be the people we're supposed to be, and then God writes in the invisible part of the story that we can't see. Absolutely incredible. Anyhow, so he learned who she was, and that's when they told her how incredible she was. So listen to when he meets Ruth in chapter 2, verse 11, he talks to Ruth, told her not to go anywhere else. But anyhow, he said this, I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, and how you left your father and your mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. Man, it wasn't her beauty that inspired that speech. It was her devotion. It was her incredible character. Listen, you notice somebody and they're cute, and that's nice. That's nice. God did a good thing with that. Physical attraction is a great thing. But it always has to go much deeper than it goes to character. I can see what you are, but who are you really, right? He found out who she was, and he was moved by all of that. To me, that is so cool. God was writing the story. It might not seem like God's writing your story, that you're on your own. You're not. Do the right things and trust him. You're not going to be finding Mr. Wright or Mrs. Wright clubbing. Okay? It's not going to happen. You're going to find them in your daily life. And the right things that you're looking for in your life, you're only going to find as you are following the Lord and letting him develop you into the person that you're supposed to be. And then God will write the story. I met Eli yesterday, 12 years old, little Amish boy. Debbie and I were in Berlin, Ohio, coming home, and I always stopped to see my Amish friend Dan. What a great guy. I enjoy his friendship. He's a good man. But anyhow, so I'm waiting outside a shop while Debbie's shopping. I was shopped out, But anyhow, so I was sitting out at a table on a front porch of an establishment, and this little Amish boy comes up with his basket. He's got jellies and soaps in it. And he goes, I'm Eli. What's your name? I said, my name's Tom. I said, sit down, Eli. Tell me about you. And he goes, no, tell me about me. What's your name? He wanted to know how old I was. He wanted to know, how many children do you have? And I said, how many brothers and sisters do you have, Eli? I have 11 brothers and 3 sisters. And I said, your mother is a good woman. I said, she must really be something, okay? Anyhow, he was selling stuff, and I had to buy something, so I bought some strawberry jelly. I paid $5, I'll sell it for $10. It's got to be good. It's the Amish. Anyhow, I bought it, but then we got talking. And he asked me if I was a believer. So he's a salesman / evangelist, 12-year-old Amish boy. Oh, cute little hat, the little haircut that they do, the clothes. And he was talking. Usually they kind of avoid you. And, oh man, he was a salesman. He was incredible. If you buy 4, you can get 1 free. I said, 1's enough. Thank you very much. Anyhow, he asked me if I was a believer, and I said, yes. He said, that's when he was asking me, how old are you? And I said, okay, brace yourself. I'm 70. And he said, oh, you look much younger than that. I said, thank you very much. And he said, are you married? I said, yes. How many children? I said, the Lord never gave us children, I'm sorry to say. And he said, well, how long have you been married? I said, since 1975. He said, that's a long time. I said, yeah, it really was a really, really long time, Eli. It really is. And I said, but I'm a believer. And he said something about the Bible, and I said, I've studied the Bible for about 55 years. And the little boy said to me, it's all true, isn't it? I said, yeah, Eli, it's all true. And then he tells me this. He says, my father has a friend who's a Mennonite, and he's a Bible salesman. And he sells them on the street. And he said there was this man who came up yelling at my father's friend, why are you peddling this book of lies, these myths, these terrible things that have hurt so many people? And he said, you know what? I'll buy one just to get one away from you so I can throw it away. And he put his money down for the Bible and took this little testament and heaved it up over the commercial building. There's a crew working on that roof, on the other side of the roof, and it hit this guy in the back of the neck. And it fell down, and he had just heard about Jesus and wanted to know the whole story and wished he had a Bible. I said, Eli, Are you telling me the truth? I swear, he said, that's exactly what the man told us. Is that interesting or what? You think God's writing the stories? He's writing the stories. That's what faith is, you guys. It's that we're called to be the people we're called to be, but at the same time, God is writing the story alongside of us. You got to trust that he's writing the story. If you had tragedy and loss in your life, I want you to know God's writing the story. There's more to it than this. There's something else coming. I just think it's great. So, Ruth was writing a story. God was writing a story. Here's a third thing I want to say. How to write your own story. Well, I'll tell you two simple things. I want you to write this down. I want you to look at John chapter 15 this week. John chapter 15. Jesus said, I am the vine and you are the branches. Abide in me that you might bear fruit. All right? Number one, you want to write a good story? Walk with Jesus day by day. Do what he says, okay? That's the start. Here's the other thing. The stuff that he'll grow into your life is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And he'll grow stuff like this: patience, kindness, not being selfish, and honoring others. You'll be building a life with those things. Do you know what patience means? It means to go at somebody else's pace. Guys, I know you're just like me. You're getting ready to go this morning. And you're saying, is she ever going to be ready? I thought she was ready a half an hour ago. Where is she? She's up doing some more little thing. You got to be willing to go at somebody else's pace. And the Spirit of God will give you that ability. He'll cause you to be kind. You will control yourself and shut your mouth. Okay? And be kind. Also, it teaches us that we're not going to be selfish. It talks about envy and boasting and being proud. No, it's not about me. And then one other one is that we honor others. We're not dishonoring to anybody. And that kind of fruit will grow in your life. If you want to write the right story, this is how to do it. Day by day, you walk with Jesus and you let the fruit grow in your life. Follow this and you'll write a beautiful story. I love Robert E. Lee, the old Confederate general. Listen, I know slavery was the awful scourge of sin on our nation. And I know it was 600,000 people that died to try to write that. Robert E. Lee, he hated slavery too, but he was fighting for his country. It was so complicated then. He was a great, great man. And let me tell you why he was a great man. Because when the war was over, he, being a Christian, also knew what Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant knew, that we had to heal this nation. And the old man, the great general, was the leading force to the rest of the Confederacy to give up and stop this. Lee led all the other generals. Everybody looked to him. And since he was the man he was supposed to be at that moment, and the reason Abraham Lincoln and Grant were the men they were supposed to be is because they were all devoted Christians. They realized they had to make peace, that the Confederacy had to stop, and they had to let this terrible thing go. But afterwards, see what happens, what's so great about Lee is that without his leadership, this is what would have happened. The Confederacy would have caved in to guerrilla warfare and we'd still be fighting it today. I mean, really badly. It would still be awful. The nation would not exist. And what America's been able to do in this world as a beacon of liberty would never have been able to be completed. But Robert E. Lee, he led the way. He was the gentleman that he needed to be at the right moment, and it changed the world. And then we have a bunch of idiots that take down his statue in Richmond, Virginia. And they didn't just move it somewhere to another museum. They melted it. It now exists in a bunch of large blocks of bronze in a warehouse. And yet we forget the great, incredible thing that man did. Nobody lives a perfect life. Nobody does any of this perfectly, but he did that really well. And we should honor and love him for that. No matter how many statues they want to tear down, let's not forget our history. If we forget our history, we're going to repeat it. Let's not do that. So you're going to write the story? I tell you, E.V. Hill. E.V. Hill, I love E.V. Hill. E.V. Hill preached his own wife's funeral. I told you this before. E.V. Hill said one day, he said, I got up. He was a pastor in the inner city down south, incredible guy. I got up. I went down to get in my car and go to the church, he said. And he said, car's gone. Where's baby gone? He called his wife baby. Where's baby? She took the car. She know I got ministry to do, she said. What is she doing? So finally she pulls back in. He's all upset. Where are you going? You know I had to leave. He said, honey, I know that there's death threats coming in for you. And I thought maybe they had a bomb on the car and I wanted to test it out for you. Great woman. But it was E.V. Hill that preached this sermon. He titled it this: Titles or Testimonies. Okay? What are you going to do in your life, he said. You're going to just try to rack up titles and degrees and show everybody that you are somebody? Or are you going to serve people and love them so that when you're gone, they're going to have testimonies about who you were and what you did? Is it going to be titles or testimonies? This is my favorite line from the sermon. One day, he said, you're going to die. They're going to take you to the cemetery and they're going to throw dirt in your face, he says. And go back to the church and eat potato salad. And when they do, will they be talking about your titles or will they be giving testimonies to your life? You think about that. Come on, stand with me. Let's pray together. Father, thank you for your word. Thank you for this incredible story that happened, this history that we get to look at of Ruth. And we ask that you'd help each of us, Lord. It's so easy to think we should do it the wrong way, for somehow you've forgotten. We can get into all kinds of trouble, so help us not to do that. Help us to walk your way. Thank you for Ruth and her example. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for listening. If you would like to support Community Bible Church, we would appreciate your prayers and gifts. We can be reached at Community Bible Church, 1888 Crescent Lake Road, Waterford, Michigan, 48327. Or at our website, www.cbcmi.com. We'd appreciate your gifts. We know that many can't give right now. So if you would, you'd be a great blessing to your brothers and sisters. God bless you. Have a great day.